Senator Blue, how have you been doing?
I've been doing good. Doing good. No reason to complain. My grandmother used to say, I woke up this morning clothed in my right mind. I didn't fully understand what she meant until I started getting older. And then I started seeing the biblical reference to the guy that Jesus ran into, and he was crazy, and that's what it was a reference. I still got state of mind to know what's what, so I'm doing good.
So we're doing good. We're both on the same side here. So my name is Tamika Robinson. I'm the owner of 18 Studios. We are partnering with Advance Carolina to bring you some in-depth interview information that you need today to be a more informed voter. And I have the pleasure of introducing you to Senator Dan Blue. I'm going to have him give a quick introduction, a little bit of history on himself, and then we're going to get into a few questions.
Okay, thank you, Tamika. I am Dan Blue. I'm a state senator representing District 14, which is Wake County. I have been in the legislature more than 30 years. I served in the House for several terms and served 2 terms as Speaker of the House. I took a short break, came back, and I've been in the Senate for the last 13 years. And now I serve as the Democratic leader in the Senate. And involved in a lot of issues, most of the major issues and challenges of the state, and enjoy doing it. Enjoy representing District 14, but more importantly, representing the people of North Carolina as we work together to try to solve problems.
And he's done a wonderful job. I've known the senator for many, many years. I have watched him from the rafters and then at the floor level doing his best work at the legislature. So I just want to say, that I am honored to be here today.
Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about the history. So how has politics shaped your life? How has the voting, helped you to make certain decisions about how you are a part of the political landscape?
Well, again, I was first elected in 1980, and I went to the legislature with the intention of staying 2 terms. That would be 4 years. And it reminds me of the poem Two Roads by Frost. And I kept going. And as I kept going in the legislature, I started learning new things, identifying other areas that I wanted to address and direct my attention to. I wanted to be of service to people. And so over the last 4 decades, I have poured myself into it. Not only has it informed me on how to better represent folk, make sure that they share their thoughts and ideas with me, but even being a better lawyer, because you're constantly looking at problems where you can improve the law and you can address the issues affecting more people. And so as I make legal arguments in court, I think about the legislative background for some of the changes that we've made in the statutes. And it also lets me know where people's real problems are, I think to a great degree, and how we ought to try to tackle them to make sure that everybody has the ability to develop whatever God-given potential they have for developing it. And I'm committed to trying to do that.
Thank you. And so as we look at, our situation today, we have a younger demographic of voters. We have individuals that are not as in tune with the grassroots political landscape. What suggestions could you give them to help them become more involved and a more informed voter?
Well, politics defines pretty much what we do. I had a couple of mentors early in my, even before I held elective office. And one of them always said that you need to explain to people that when they're born, a politician decrees that they've been born because he's got to sign the birth certificate.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to keep the record in the Register of Deeds office, and that's a politician. If you are lucky and you find a life mate and you get married, a politician has to sign your marriage license. It has to give you permission or at least approval to do it under the various state laws. And lo and behold, at some point, all of us will die. And if you think about it, your death certificate is signed by somebody who's involved in political process. So politics affects us from the cradle to the grave. And you need to be, I think all of us need to be engaged so that we can have some impact on how that politics affects what we do. To make sure that the way it's affecting people is in a positive way, to make sure that it's addressing the issues that most people are challenged by, that it's creating a way for us to educate our kids and to let them develop their full potential, that it's creating a way for us to get jobs and to get better jobs as we move along, policies that influence job creation, that it's trying to make sure that those jobs pay us decent wages so we can survive and thrive. Politics affects how we acquire property and what we do with it. And as I try to explain that to young people, I try to tell them that all of it's not pretty and beautiful and all of that, but you got to know that it affects everything you do. If you go to school, politics is what's determining the kind of teacher that you have by determining whether we're going to pay decent salaries to get the best people possible to teach our kids or to teach you when you go on to college and stuff. Whether we're creating an environment so that you're going to get the training that you need to be competitive, not just with people in your school or in your state, but people around the world now. And politics plays a critical role in that, whether you go to private or public schools. And again, it touches every aspect of our lives. If you're driving down the road and just got your new car and you hit certain potholes in the road, you're going to end up spending more money trying to get it aligned again. And so politics determines all of those things. And local politics is very critical to those. We all get tied up in the national politics, but the local politics is what affects you on a day-to-day basis. The politics of whether your trash is picked up every morning or every week when it's supposed to be picked up. And again, I could go on and on and on. And the billions of dollars that are spent in North Carolina alone at the state level, we spend $70-80 billion a year to provide services and opportunities for our citizenry. And, that's political. And so you can be passively involved, which means you just go along to get along and you really don't go out and vote. You don't get yourself actively involved in debate. Or you can be actively involved where you make a real difference. And you always make a difference whether you vote or don't vote, because if you don't vote, you're often helping to elect people who might not share your ideas on how we all improve life together and how we all create opportunities together. So I talk to young folk about that all the time. Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't. But they will see it as they move on. We just got to keep them excited about it because they help create the kind of world they want to live in.
Correct.
The kind of world all of us live in.
Well, one of the things that I want to make sure, because you are accessible. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this question or this statement up more so is because I've grown up in the Democratic Party myself. I've grown up in politics, and everyone, all leaders were accessible. So I want the young people, I want the folks that are listening to this interview today to understand how they can reach you and why it's important for them to communicate with you.
And I look forward to them communicating with me. Believe it or not, most of the ideas that I get on how we can address the many issues challenging us is through phone calls, through emails, through Facebook posts, and other ways that people communicate with my office. And of course, through personal face-to-face discussions. Again, my district is in Raleigh, and the state capitol legislative building is in Raleigh, so I get a lot of people coming by. And we look at all of the communication that we get and screen it, put it in categories. But there's nothing that moves me as much as a story told to me by somebody who lives an experience. And that's what inspires me to pursue different bills, different kinds of legislation. One of the things that I did early in my career, I did some cases, court appointed stuff for young folk, juveniles who were charged with doing things. And I was inspired by looking at some of them, trying to make sure that they weren't permanently scarred with some of the decisions they may have made in their youth, and realized that it's very helpful to pull people from the river as you see them passing by and save them. But it's much more efficient and effective if you can go to the head of the river, figure out why they're falling into the river or why they're thrown into the river.
That's right.
And you can save a lot more that way. So I like to look at my legislative experience the same way. Many ideas from different people make me see a bigger picture of things. So, and I don't care whether they're critical or they are complementary. I just want to hear the multiple ideas and the different thoughts, and then we sort through them. I try to be enlightened as going to it, and I don't have all of the ideas and all of the answers. So I want to plow the whole field and survey the entire landscape for different thoughts and ideas that people have, because that's the only way that we're going to get the best possible solution to a specific problem that we're looking at. I don't believe in shutting down debate prematurely. I don't believe in just dismissing something that somebody says. And so I encourage young folk, middle folk, old folk, anybody else to really share their thoughts and ideas with us and let us know what is on their minds and different things. And at the state level, we're the place, state legislature. If you don't like the law and the policy, we can change it if you make compelling cases of why it ought to be changed. But we won't know that it's a compelling case unless you're constantly sharing your ideas and thoughts with us. And from my perspective, I'm publicly listed in all the directories. And even if it's not in the general one, you can look at the legislative website. And my office is always available. You can make an inquiry, and I or somebody on my staff will immediately try to respond to it.
Yes, thank you so much for always being available and for being such a good example. Are there any final thoughts you'd like to leave the viewers with?
No, it's always a pleasure sharing some of my experiences, sharing thoughts. I enjoy, as I said, representing the people of the 14th Senate District and the people of North Carolina. I think that together we can do things that make us better folk, and as importantly, make us able to do those critical things that government was created to help do. Whether it's the issue of trying to educate our kids, better law enforcement, better protection and safety and security, the better training. We're constantly talking about retraining people in this world for different kinds of jobs, and I have found that it's really rewarding seeing the end benefits of it. I'm at the point now that I get to talk to a lot of people who were interns for me early in my legislative career, and people that I might have inspired in different ways. And what's most important about it is ways that they have inspired me, simply by sharing their time and sharing their ideas and their experiences with me. So I encourage everybody to continue doing that, and let's make sure that we're all aimed at moving our state and our localities and our country forward. There's no limit to what we can do if we're all trying to do it together, rather than some of the stuff that I'm seeing nowadays with people preferring people in the political arena, preferring to demonize other folk rather than trying to pursue ideas and thoughts and working together to get solutions to the many problems and challenges.
You're exactly right. We have to work together. We have a voice. Let's unify and be powerful. Thank you, Senator Blue.
Thank you for letting me be with you.
Yes, we thank you so much.